Hey, I'm Frank. Welcome back to the Virtual Firearms Association. Today we are in the virtual range, and today we are discussing the Second Amendment and the truth about it. I am not an emotional individual. I just asked my wife, she will tell you, but this can get a bit emotional. Let's discuss. Before we get started, those gifts are down in the description for you. Both of them are completely free. As I said, our gift to you, the downloadable and printable targets. Download them, print them, shoot them, save yourself time, money, do it all over again. We know your time is definitely valuable. That's why we started the VFA. Make sure you do that. Additionally, if you want to make sure those shots count, especially with your pistol, take our free basic pistol marksmanship and shooting course. It is completely free. All you got to do is just go sign up for it and you can have it forever. It's yours, and it'll take your marksmanship and shooting to the next level, cover everything you need to know about etiquette, range, everything in there. Both these are gifts to you. Use them. Please use them. Please. Anyway, the Second Amendment. As I said, I'm not an emotional individual, but what we can be discussing today can be emotional, but I want to break it down from an analytical and statistical standpoint. These are not my statistics. As a matter of fact, I'm getting them off the CDC, which is the CDC. So just leave it at that. However, we're going to break these down. I'm going to show you pretty much firearm related incidents over the past decade and some change, almost 2 decades, really. And we're just going to break this down. Actually, it's over 2 decades. Yes, I can't count. It's over 2 decades worth. And I just want to show you some statistics and some numbers. The Second Amendment is the only constitutional amendment I've ever seen attacked with such disregard. And even judges these days are coming out. One just recently said this, but especially after the Bruin case, are coming out and saying, no, you cannot attack the Second Amendment and you cannot treat it like a disregarded amendment, no matter how you feel. And they're really starting to step up in individual states and show this, especially after the Supreme Court ruling. So let's jump on over, and I'm going to share my screen with you. We're going to go through some of these statistics, and we're going to burn through them, and we're just going to discuss what we see, and you're left to take your own conclusion. You don't have to agree with mine. However, there's some things that I think you're going to want to hear. So let's jump over. Okay, we're going to start from 1995. Now, if I were to go back further than 1995, it would actually benefit me for my side of this discussion, right? But I'm going to start right here. 1995, we see that the major injuries, right? The major number of deaths in the US was caused from unintentional injury, right? Unintentional injury. The question is what's categorized as unintentional injury? I'm going to leave you to do your own research on that. It was followed by HIV, then a malignant cancer, then heart disease, and then it was a homicide and a suicide. So notice what I'm looking at. This is the CDC. And notice homicide and suicide and unintentional injury are highlighted. I did not highlight these. I had no inclination. I just did the research off the cdc.gov website. But these ones are highlighted, which ultimately shows an attention to these 3 particular things. Unintentional injury is obviously highlighted because, and as you see throughout this entire thing, it stays at the top. It's always going to be the number 1 reason for deaths per year here in the US. We'll unpack that in a little bit, right? But let's move through the years, and you're going to see as homicide and suicide move up. And I started at 1995 because this is where it was its lowest, right? No, I'm not trying to skew anything here. You can see all the information that I have, but just keep in mind that those are highlighted. And why are they highlighted? I didn't ask them to be, but they just happen to be for the CDC's website. Let's move forward here. So this is 1995. Let's move forward to the following year. 1996, we see suicide and homicide rotate. I should back up here. Notice where homicide is, 18,600 people, right? Suicide, 17,000 almost. Let's round up. Let's call this 18,000. Let's call this 19,000. Homicide is defined as one human killing another human. That is homicide. That doesn't mean it's murder. That doesn't, it could be an accident. There could be an accidental homicide. It's just one human killing another. Let's be clear on these definitions. Suicide is a human killing themselves, right? 100%. That's what the definition of suicide is. It's a definition of homicide. All right. So 19,000 and 17,000 or I'm sorry, 18,000 respectively. We see suicide jump up, homicide jumps down. They both kind of shift. HIV was no longer as prevalent. HIV dropped almost 11,000, right? So that automatically moves suicide, homicide up. Cancer still prevalent, heart disease still prevalent. Homicide takes a dip, suicide takes a small dip. They kind of go down a little bit at rounding the turn of the century. Turn of the century, a little bit more of a dip. Who knows? Maybe things were just, it was 2000, so a lot was going on. All right, we see a little bit climb back up. Remember, our numbers were 18 and 19,000 respectively. Okay. Homicide drops, suicide's about the same, still going. We're at 2002. Okay. We're 20 years right now. So same thing. Unintentional injury still staying up here, right? 48,000, almost 50,000. Same thing. Cancer still up there. Homicide, suicide. Okay. 2005, 2006, 2007. We see suicide separate, right? Heart disease comes down a little bit. Medical's getting better. Okay, good. Homicide drops a little bit. That's always positive. Homicide drops some more. Suicide's going a little bit higher. What's going on here? Okay, hey, suicide's climbing still. Homicide's staying about the same. Okay, cancer drops a little bit, but suicide takes over significantly. Let's look at that. Suicide jumps up. Cancer drops about 1,000. Suicide jumps up about 1,000. Naturally takes over. Okay, homicide's still dropping. Suicide now up there. Nowhere's near a contender with unintentional injury. Still same thing. Suicide's holding up there. Suicide breaks 20,000 right here. Suicide has broken 20,000 for the first time, right? Under 20,000, it's just broke 20,000 right there. Okay. Suicide still up there, now over 22,000. Still going. Suicide hanging tight up there. All right, we're at 2020. Look what happens here. Homicide jumps from 14,000 up to 18,000 there. My question is why? What changed that year that made homicide jump so precipitously? But 18,000. Now, I can't go any farther. This is the data because this is what they can 100% confirm. Look all the way up here. Unintentional injury up 80,000, all the way up to 80,000. Don't overlook this. This is the most. 80,000 people are dying unintentionally every year, right? 22,000 are dying by suicide and 18,000 are dying by homicide. Now, what does that mean for us? It means not all of these right here are done with a firearm. Not all of these are done with a firearm. Not all homicides here are done with a firearm. Not all of these are done with a firearm. Unintentional injury, right? Same concept here. Obviously, 2020, COVID shot up there. Why, if this number is so far up here, are we focusing on a minute portion of these? Now, any death is sad and it's emotional. I said this would be an emotional coverage. Any death is sad and emotional. Doesn't matter if it's with a firearm or not. But why, if firearms are a fraction of this right here? And make no mistake, there's more suicides with a firearm death than there are homicides with firearms death. But why, if it's a fraction of this right here, if it's a portion of this right here, not the total, but if it's a portion of this right here, and these two combined don't equal half of this, right? So, I mean, they might equal a half of it. If I put them together, they'll break 40,000. Why are we not focusing on this? Why does this tend to be the focus when it's already a constitutional right? there's not a doubt in anyone's mind that the Second Amendment has been under extreme scrutiny. But as we just looked at the statistics here in the US, it's a fraction of what the most deaths are. Most deaths are unintentional injury. And it has grown precipitously. You just saw the numbers yourself. Go back, rewatch it. Seriously, look at it, how it grows those last 3 years. It's ridiculous. And yet we want to focus on regulation of a constitutional protected right. It seems to me that the focus is just not in the right spot there. I'm all for open to discussion on everything, but I want to have a discussion on what's the most prevalent thing, and that's unintentional injury, and how do we address that? And if you're saying, hey, we can address it, so why even bother? Well, then I think that's the wrong mindset to start off with. As I said before, there's no doubt that the Second Amendment has been under attack recently. And really, I think we can just all agree that it makes up a small, minute portion of what's out there. I don't know. Focus should be driven somewhere else. Maybe that'd be another video. But for right now, all you can do is acknowledge that it's a constitutionally protected right, and it's just under attack nonstop. Take what you will with that. Hope this helps. As always, stay safe. Listen, those gifts are down in the description. Downloadable, printable targets. Use them, print them, do it all over again. Save yourself the time and the money, and really take that online course. It's a $100 course we have completely free. You don't put in a credit card or anything. It's our gift to you. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you next time.